press release, you guys touched on a bit of the animals that were, we'll say rescued from that situation. Can you touch a little bit about on that?
We took in 213 birds from the location. They were surrendered, and we have those in our custody, but we're waiting on mycoplasma tests to come back to confirm that they are not a risk to the community. Obviously, Virginia Beach is a big agricultural area as well as city, and we just want to make sure that they're safe to be in the community.
Could you tell us what kind of birds? I know that you mentioned that the 36 were roosters, but I mean, out of 200 birds, that still leaves a lot of birds unaccounted for. So were they hens, chicks? What are we talking about?
They were mostly hens and juvenile birds. So there was a large quantity of juvenile roosters, but the full-grown roosters were euthanized on the recommendation of the SME vet that we had on scene.
All 36 were euthanized?
We had 2 that were sick or injured that needed to be euthanized, humanely euthanized, and then the 36 were full-grown roosters that could not be housed with other birds.
I understand.
So they were euthanized? I'm sorry.
They were euthanized.
Why do you believe that this could be a cockfighting ring at this point? Because it's not illegal, I guess, to own that many birds. But what led you to this point in your investigation?
Unfortunately, it's still an ongoing investigation. We can't go into what led us to that property and what we are taking to the Commonwealth Attorney at this point.
No one's been charged yet?
No one has been charged at this point.
How many suspects?
It's an ongoing investigation.
You guys did say in the press release it was a suspected cockfighting operation. Just broadly for people who aren't familiar with what that even means, could you just kind of describe in broad terms what a cockfighting situation is?
So in Virginia, we have a code, and just so I have it correctly, it's Virginia Code 3.2-6571, and that is kind of what breaks down what fighting birds or dogs could be. Fighting animals in general all fall under the same code, and it explains in there what is prohibited and what is not, and that can be a Class 1 misdemeanor up to a Class 6 felony. So we take it very seriously in Virginia Beach, and we want to make sure that our animals are handled in a manner that is not cruel or inhumane.
I'm not trying to trip you up on this at all. I just would like a little bit more clarification, because in Isle of Wight a couple months ago, they also had a cockfighting ring issue, and they were telling us when it happened that they didn't believe cockfighting was happening there at the time. They just think that they were raising the chickens and then sending them off. Is this somewhat, I know you're in the middle of your investigation, but do you think that this is something similar to that, or was there actual battles happening at this property?
I cannot go into the actual investigation. However, I will explain to you that the code explains that it is illegal and people are prohibited to own, train, possess, transport, sell. There's many things that fall under that. So what somebody might think or assume is a cockfighting organization, it might not look like that.
And then did you find any deceased animals on the property when you were doing this investigation?
That it's an ongoing investigation.
What was the original call out to that property for stray dogs?
Stray dogs.
And what happened to those dogs?
Those dogs were returned to the owner, or actually was not even the owner. I apologize. It was a caretaker that was on scene, took possession of those dogs. Those dogs were not on scene when we executed our search warrant.
Are any videotapes recovered?
I cannot go into what was taken from the scene.
Where do you house like 200 chickens in Virginia Beach? I mean, just like, is it something that you guys can't have an evidence back here? Where are they at right now?
Well, I'm very proud of my team because it definitely takes a lot of logistics to house and prepare to take in that many birds. I can't disclose where they are, but it took a lot of work. So I'm very proud of them.
Is there any way that people could help, that they might see something like this and might want to get involved, or how can they?
So we are waiting for the mycoplasma tests to come back. If the birds are healthy and can be returned back into the community, then we will be working with our partners in rescues and trying to adopt those animals out. So we're just waiting for the tests at this point.
How long do you think that's gonna take?
We're hoping for tomorrow, but it might take another day or two.
I only have two final questions for myself. When we were out in the neighborhood, I'm not sure how true this is or not, but there was allegations that the owner of the property owned several,
Mexican restaurants,
yes, that it was Plaza
Plaza Azteca.
Azteca. Do we know if that has anything to do with this, or?
No charges have been filed, and I'm not going to go into that at this point because he has every right, like anybody else, to his privacy, and until we prove otherwise.
Okay, and then finally, just any stance that you would take on animal cruelty or any sort of situations like this, that people should be treating animals humanely.
Yes. So Animal Services Bureau, we take it very passionately of making sure that animals are treated in a humane way. We want to make sure that we give a voice to the voiceless, everything from the typical cats and dogs all the way to chickens. So we want to make sure that we do everything we can for our community and the safety of those animals.
I have one question. So in looking this up before we headed out to Creed where this happened, you guys had another case in 2018 on Dam Neck Road for cockfighting. So this isn't the first time that you guys had to deal with it. Can you kind of talk about that? That like this isn't the first time that you've had to deal with this here in the area?
It is not the first time, but we are very fortunate that we have a great community of team members that work together. We have, like I mentioned before, the Attorney General's office and the Animal Fighting Task Force team assisted us. We actually had assistance from Isle of Wight. They were here and on scene that were helping us so that we could play it forward and help somebody else. We are just wanting the community to know that we're paying attention, and we want to make sure that they know that they're safe in their community, and that if there are criminal acts happening, that we're going to do everything we can to take care of their community and the animals in it.
Are there any photos that y'all can release of the birds?
Not at this time.
But like maybe, I guess, when charges are filed?
You're right. When charges are filed, then we can maybe
Do you
up
expect
to-
charges to
up-
be filed?
up to the Commonwealth Attorney.
That's up to the Commonwealth Attorney.
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
I don't care how long you've been in law enforcement, 200 plus, birds, that's kind of crazy. When this first came across your desk or when you first got involved, I mean, like, what is going through your mind as far as, the feeling towards a situation like this, and then logistically, like Emily had touched on earlier, transporting all those birds, I mean, picking them up one by one, putting them in whatever, like, it's a lot. Can you just talk a little bit about that?
Definitely in my 30 plus years, I never thought I'd be running around chasing chickens, but there I was. So it is a lot of logistics. It's a lot of food and care and time to house them, set it up, be prepared for them, and then the daily care of all these birds. So it is a lot, but we have a great team. We're working together. Animal Services Bureau is the shelter and the animal enforcement side, and we have our veterinarian suite, so we are all working together to make sure that these animals are cared for while they're in our custody.
And then I guess one final thing, if somebody suspects maybe they know of a potential cockfighting situation in their neighborhood, I mean, I don't know if the first thing I would do is pick up the phone and call 911, right? Like, who do you call? If somebody suspects something like that happening in their neck of the woods, who do they call? Who do they talk to? What do they say?
So we do have an online way that you can make complaints for your, not just this kind of situation, but anything that happens in the community, that you can send something even if you don't want to come forward and have somebody contact you. If you want to do it anonymous, that's fine. We rather have the information than not know it's happening in our community. Or you can just call us direct if you have questions, concerns. You can contact us at Animal Services Bureau.
Were they in cages or, just roaming on open land? What kind of situation was it?
I can't go into the details of their housing.
Can you go, my final one, I swear, is just the conditions of the birds as well, because I'm remembering with Isle of Wight, the birds themselves were actually in good condition, they were kept healthy, or were these malnutrition birds, or were they just aggressive birds?
I am not a veterinarian. In my best of assessments, they seem to be overall in good health.